Hey everyone, welcome back, or if you're seeing this for the first time, thanks for jumping in. So I have been posting a couple videos on Discard Warlock. Decided, well, I've been saying for a while that I was going to make a mulligan guide, but I kind of hit a point, like when I was recording that overview video, like right after that, I was playing a bunch of games in Legend, and I kind of felt like the meta was shifting a little bit, so I wanted to play some more games before I started doing a more in-depth guide. I wanted to see if I wanted to switch any cards. I actually spent some time trying out some of the cards that I was saying I wasn't a super fan of, but I hadn't actually played yet. So I tried playing the actually I tried playing both of these guys. My ideas on High Priestess Jeklik were correct. Bad card, can't spend that much mana for that few stats. And I tried playing this. It's too slow for this deck. Like, yes, it does win you the other hyper aggro matchups sometimes, but if they get too far ahead on board, this isn't enough of a comeback mechanic anyways. So the games that this wins you, I think, are way outweighed by the games that it loses for you. So I tried them. I don't like them still. I also tried the one that everyone seems to be running. I still don't like this. This is not enough stats for this mana cost. And the the problem with your cheap discard outlets is it doesn't really give you enough time to play out your non-discard related cards. With this deck, you really want to dump your non-discard related cards first before doing anything else. So with that out of the way, those are kind of the cards I saw everyone running that I think are bad. Obviously, Cataclysm's still terrible. I don't know why people are running that. I guess I technically got beat by it once, but I don't know. I feel like I got kind of high rolled. So the changes I've made since last time is you notice I'm actually running Flame Imp again. I have trashed Flame Imp a bunch in the last couple videos, but that was entirely based off the fact that Demon Hunters were such a major part of the meta. So the only change between the last list that you guys saw and this list is Wrathguard is out and Flame Imp is in. So Flame Imp is 1/1 less stats and 1 less mana. I was just noticing that I wanted to be a little bit faster. The way the meta has gotten a decent bit faster, but and so you just want to be competing on board as early as you possibly can. So Flame Imp is in. I like Flame Imp. When the odd Demon Hunter isn't as prevalent. There's not as many odd Demon Hunters out there now. So yeah, that's enough talking. I've probably talked too long already. Let's hop into a game and I'll go over some of the mulligan stuff. One thing you might want to take into account though is with this deck, I actually play around what's left in my deck a lot more than making decisions what's based off my hand, because of course you're a discard deck, so you're getting rid of your hand a lot of the time, but you have a huge amount of draw. So that's kind of a weird mindset that you got to take into account, is try to play around your deck a little bit more than you're used to in Hearthstone. So yeah, let's hop in. Okay, so again, Doomguard, never want Doomguard in your opening hand. Druid. What do druids play right now? I don't actually know. I don't have enough sample size to know what druids are playing right now. I'm gonna kind of assume that it's a slow deck, so we like Flame Imp. The random slow decks is like why I'm teching in Flame Imp. Well, that and I guess I said literally the opposite thing in the intro. Flame Imp is really good against the random slow decks because it gets your damage in a little bit faster. And it's like the only reason I played Wrathguard over Flame Imp is because the 1 mana 2 damage hero power was so prevalent. I think we do this. I really like keeping expired. We're keeping these for the early tempo and aggression. We're keeping this for some like cool high roll power plays that you can make with it. I think we actually coin this because that's just 6 attack worth of stats in play on turn 1, which is gonna eat up a bunch, like accumulate a lot of damage if it sticks around, which often it will stick around for a couple turns against a druid. Or at least one of them will. Having two. Oh, wow. We just win that game now. Okay, that's probably game. That's insane. You know, stats in play. This is a little bit of a liability when you're this low on mana. Like, if you do this when you only have 1 mana or 2 mana, you're pretty much only hoping. If you do it on 2, you're hoping you find the Malchezaar's Imp. If you do it on 1, you're just looking to get lucky and high roll some discard stuff. And we're not in a position where we need to do that, so we're going to save it and try to get more value off of it. It's really good for digging for burn in the, like, when you're trying to close out the game. We will want to play it before we play our Soulfire, though. I think we will play it here. 2 mana is plenty when we have Kalthos up. Okay, we want stats in play, so we're just doing this. So yeah, it sucks that we missed the Soulfire, but we're getting the Druid pretty low. They don't have Spreading Plague for another couple turns. I guess they could ramp into it, especially now that they have the Kalthos gone. Yeah, are they ramping into it? Maybe. Yeah, see, look, he's dumping his entire hand to try and deal with this board, and we just build an entire new one next turn. For super cheap. Like, we're not going to spend hardly any mana on this turn. I mean, we'll try to spend all of it, but we're going to develop a very big board for very, very cheap. Do we win ever here? Very, very rarely. But this is already representing lethal. So we're going to draw. Cool. So if we'd actually hit a Soulfire there, then we could have had lethal, but yeah, very rare. But again, I like doing this because we refill our hand. We now have the Doomguard for next turn. Actually, I might have had that already. I don't remember. But yeah. We kind of eat up druids. So again, never keep Doomguard in your opening hand. It's a Demon Hunter, so this is kind of where we're sad that we've changed what cards we're teching. Because I think this version of the deck is slightly worse against Demon Hunter than my old version. The Demon Hunters just are representing a lot less now, I think. This is a really weak, like, board play unless we draw exactly Fist of Jaraxxus or Silverware Golem and don't hit any of the higher cost things. But we are ahead. So the reason I'm keeping this is we are on the play, and so we kind of get the by default tempo advantage here. He's not an odd Demon Hunter, which is good for us. And now we get to draw a bunch of cards. So kind of the downside of being on the play is negated here by the fact that we have this play to make. I really should play some games with Demon Hunter. I'm still not super familiar with how they follow this up. He can full trade into this. I think we just push the 1 damage. I don't think he really has ways to buff his board. So I'm not too worried about clearing this board. So maybe I was punished there? He would have one less of these now, and it's the same situation. So yeah, I probably... Okay. I guess I'm kind of surprised he cleared that with an I-Beam. I think we're happy that he cleared that with an I-Beam, because that's a big health swing later in the game. So I think we're happy about that. This is where this card gets to shine. So yeah, those are the kinds of plays you... that's why you like drawing a bunch of cards, because you get to play turns like that. And the way this deck wins against aggro matchups is kind of those big board swing turns, and they generally happen around, you know, turn 3, turn 4. And if you can't clear this, I think we just rip the Doomguard, probably. Well, we'll go face with one card first so that we can get the Felwing out of hand, and then we'll rip the Doomguard, and we'll draw, like, another 6 cards. Or we'll discard this and be sad, but it happens. And again, the reason we're able to play another really good turn like this is because we had those taunts up that protected our Ebonlocke. So, the reason I run the taunts. And so this has the chance to low roll super hard, but if it even hits one of the draws, we're happy, and this is just like so much stats in play that we just have to do it. And of course, we draw a bunch more cards and get to dump more cards from our hand. So yeah, that's the aggro Demon Hunter matchup. I guess I don't know for sure that it was aggro, but it looked like aggro. Kind of hard to tell when you only play to turn 4, but yeah. Okay, so again, the Warlock matchup's kind of annoying because you don't ever know if it's going to be aggro or slow. I like drawing on turn 1. I like this as some follow-up. This isn't as... I don't think this is aggressive enough against the control decks, and if it is aggro, it's like probably discard lock, so the one attack doesn't trade into anything, so I don't think we want the Voidwalker. We really like our 2 attacks and higher. So against Warlock, I think Voidwalker is probably a mulligan. And the Malchezaar Imp's probably... You toss Malchezaar Imp also if it's not... sorry, my brain. You probably toss Malchezaar Imp if it's into the Warlocks and you don't have some good discard in hand already. We're going to play this. The reason is if it is discard Warlock, we want to be able to value trade as opposed to getting our stuff value traded. Like, we want to be able to trade up. See, perfect. That's exactly why I played this. We now trade up with our thing, and he gets no value off of this, took 3 damage for nothing, and we're sitting pretty. But we're actually going to do this first. Since we haven't drawn any higher cost cards, we really want to get Fist of Jaraxxus into this. We'll see where it goes. Oh, it goes there. Cool. So, I never really make my turn 1 play based off of this being turn 2. One, that would have been 50-50 anyways, and the likelihood... I've just been burned so many times by drawing a Doomguard or a Hand of Gul'dan after the turn that I try to set that up, so that's why I did it like that. We're actually going to trade this off here. We're playing for board. We want to keep our board as much as possible. I'm going to be playing this. We don't want this to be able to trade into it. We want to try and use it to protect stuff. And we're trading here because we want our high stat play, which is Actually, the better play might just to play all my 1-drops. So I actually misstated all that. I was gonna try and be fancy and do this with the higher probability of hitting one of the Fisted Jaraxxus, but with Fisted Jaraxxus and this in hand, the 3 1-drops develops more stats and clears out our hand, so it's even higher probability now that we hit Fisted Jaraxxus in the future. And oh, Expired Merchant into that hand is. This is going to be a super good hand if we don't draw a Doomguard or hand a Gul'dan next turn. But yeah, this just gets more stats in play. I should have just been thinking of doing this from the start. I think I still like the trade there, though, because now this is still up. We, I think, do this play to see which things we hit. Okay, it goes face. So we just trade off here and go face. We just this matchup is entirely board. Like who can win the board. If you're ahead on board, you end up winning because like this deck has very little burst damage, and you have to push everything through just off what you have on board. So being ahead on board is the entire way that you win the game. We really hope this high rolls and kills the matron. Oh, okay. Actually, we just win. I didn't even think about that. So yeah, the mirror is entirely about the board and where you can do your trades. So you want to get your cards that give you value other than their stats on board first so that they can trade up into their cards that are high stats but have downside. So that their downside is more impactful to them, and you can play your high stats with downsides without them being able to interact with it as much. Okay, so against Paladin, the Mech Paladin beats us a lot of the time. The Mech Paladin's so good. We are on the coin again, so we definitely like the Ebonlocke Malchezaar Imp. I think we actually mulligan both of the other ones, looking for other cheap demons, because we want to just dump as hard as we can on turn 2. Or turn 1 if we decide to coin it. I think we might do this first, though. Oh, that's very different. We actually have a decent matchup against this deck, I think. Here we definitely coin, because being ahead against odd Paladin is super important, because you have to trade off their early dudes, so you want to just get as wide as possible, as early as possible. You always rip the Soularium here. We have Ebonlocke in place, so everything's cheap, and we draw anything that we don't play. Like, it's super strong. I think we do full trade, because we're just getting so far ahead on board here. We want to secure our lead, and then we'll probably start going face next turn, or he just concedes. That works too. So yeah, that's I'll definitely toss this one in, because it's so short. But yeah, I do think Paladin and the odd Paladin is a pretty decent matchup for us. Awesome, thanks for watching. So I've done 3 videos on this deck now. Obviously it's changed a little bit, but I'm pretty settled on this deck with the Flame Imp switched for Wrathguard as like that's my only tech choice that I'm making. I think this is probably the best version of the deck right now. If you have some compelling suggestions, I'd love to hear them. Also, if you guys want to see me play other decks, I'd be interested in doing that. Maybe hit me up with some suggestions of decks you'd like to see me go over and go more in depth on. Kind of the way I like doing these videos, though, is I like really learning the deck and giving in-depth commentary on it. So I'm going to be pretty picky on the decks that I decide to play, because I obviously will have to put a ton of time into playing them. I'm kind of feeling the aggro decks right now, so if you want to hit me up with some cool, interesting aggro decks, maybe That'll be cool. Another deck that I might make a video on soon, so hit me up if you guys want to see me make a video on this deck. I tossed this deck together like yesterday or something, and it does some pretty sweet stuff. You get to like have infinite mana with Dark Glare. You kind of do just kill yourself. I was running, so I run Hooked Reaver to try and like not die a little bit better. It's a little bit slower than the old deck, so yeah, hit me up if you want to see me do some videos on this deck. And yeah, thanks for all the support. I'm surprised at how many people have been watching these and commenting, and I have some subscribers now, so what's that about? That's sweet. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, thanks. Have a good day, and let me know what you guys want to be seeing.